You know what frustrates me? Seeing people dump money into stocks while ignoring the credit card debt sitting on their statement charging them 20+% interest. It's like pouring water into a container with holes in the bottom and being confused why nothing's accumulating. I'm Alex, and I'm fascinated by optimal financial strategies and why so many people approach wealth building completely backwards. If you want to understand the correct sequence for deploying your money instead of randomly throwing cash at whatever sounds exciting, hit that subscribe button. And if this video prevents you from making costly mistakes, show some love with a like. Here's a reality check that might surprise you. 1 out of every 3 Americans has zero emergency savings. The median emergency fund? A measly $500. $500. That won't even cover most car repairs. Yet these same individuals are asking me whether they should invest in individual tech stocks or jump into crypto. It's like debating which luxury car to buy when you can't afford to fix your current vehicle's brakes. There's an optimal sequence for investing that can save you literally tens of thousands of dollars throughout your life and massively accelerate your journey to financial freedom. But most people skip this sequence entirely because it's not as thrilling as chasing the next hot investment or trying to predict market movements. They want to jump straight to the exciting parts without establishing the foundational elements that actually create lasting wealth. Today, I'm breaking down the exact sequence you should follow when investing your money, step by step, to maximize returns while minimizing risk. Some of this will surprise you, especially why employer matching comes before almost everything else, and why health savings accounts might be the most powerful tool most people completely overlook. But first, let me explain why getting this sequence wrong can be financially devastating. Imagine constructing a building. You wouldn't start selecting expensive finishes and decorative elements if your foundation was unstable and your structure was compromised. Yet that's precisely what most people do financially. They get excited about investing in trending funds while carrying high-interest debt that's guaranteed to eliminate any potential gains. The opportunity cost of this mistake is enormous. Every month you delay eliminating high-interest debt charging 20+% is another month where that debt grows faster than virtually any reasonable investment return. Every month you ignore your employer's matching contribution is literally free money you're refusing to accept. And every month you contribute to regular investment accounts before maximizing tax-advantaged options means unnecessarily paying extra taxes. Step 1. Build your emergency fund. Before investing a single dollar anywhere, establish an emergency fund. I know this sounds unglamorous. I know you'd prefer hearing about which investments will multiply your wealth, but this matters more than you realize. An emergency fund isn't just about covering unexpected costs, though that's certainly valuable. It's about creating a financial buffer that prevents terrible decisions when life inevitably throws challenges your way. When your vehicle needs repairs or you face an unexpected medical expense, having an emergency fund means you don't have to liquidate investments at the worst possible moment or accumulate high-interest debt to handle the situation. Everyone asks, how much should I save? The standard advice is 3 to 6 months of expenses, but that range is so broad that it's practically useless. The amount you need depends on your situation. Stable government job with excellent benefits? Maybe 3 months works. Freelancer in an unpredictable industry with no safety net? You might need 6 months or more. Here's my recommendation. Start by saving your first $1,000 as quickly as possible. This handles most minor emergencies and creates that psychological safety net. Then build toward 1 month of expenses. Once you hit that milestone, keep going until you reach 3 months. This approach breaks an overwhelming goal into achievable milestones. Here's something interesting. Recent research from Vanguard discovered that people with at least $2,000 in emergency savings had financial wellness scores 21% higher than people without any emergency fund. That was the largest improvement linked to any financial factor they measured. $2,000 isn't transformative money, but the psychological impact of having that cushion is substantial. Step 2. Eliminate high-interest debt. Once your emergency fund exists, the next step is critical. Eliminate all high-interest debt before investing anything else. When I say high interest, I'm talking about anything charging more than roughly 7 to 8% annually, though this threshold varies with market conditions. Credit card debt is the obvious culprit. With average rates exceeding 20%, credit card debt is financial poison. It grows faster than almost any reasonable investment return, which means carrying credit card debt while investing is like running a marathon while carrying a heavy backpack. Mathematically, eliminating debt with a guaranteed high interest provides a guaranteed return equal to that rate, often higher than you can reasonably expect from markets after taxes. Let me put this in perspective. If you carry $5,000 in credit card debt at 20% interest and make only minimum payments, you'll pay nearly $3,000 in interest over 5 years. That's money that could have been working for you instead of against you. Every dollar used to eliminate that debt essentially earns you a guaranteed 20% return, better than most legendary investors' long-term averages. The strategy for efficient debt elimination is straightforward. List all debts with their interest rates and minimum payments. Pay minimums on everything, then direct every extra dollar at the debt with the highest interest rate. This is the debt avalanche method, mathematically the most efficient approach. Some people prefer the debt snowball method, paying smallest balances first for psychological momentum, but the avalanche saves more money. Step 3. Capture employer matching. Here's where it gets interesting. There's one major exception to eliminating debt before investing, and it's so important it becomes our next step. If your employer offers matching contributions to your retirement plan, contribute enough to capture the full match even before finishing high-interest debt elimination. This might seem contradictory, but the mathematics are compelling. Employer matching is essentially a guaranteed 100% return on your investment up to the match limit. Even if you're carrying credit card debt at 20%, getting a 100% immediate return usually makes sense. It's like finding money on the ground that your employer will double when you pick it up. Typical example, your employer might match 50 cents per dollar up to 6% of your salary. If you earn $50,000 annually, contributing $3,000 to capture the full $1,500 match represents a 50% immediate return, plus whatever your investments earn over time. No other opportunity can guarantee that return. The key is contribute just enough to capture the full match, then redirect all extra money back to eliminating high-interest debt. Once debt is gone, increase retirement contributions. This strategy maximizes guaranteed returns while minimizing time paying high interest rates. One important consideration, some companies have vesting schedules determining how long you must stay to keep matching funds. If you don't plan to stay long, understand the vesting schedule. However, even with vesting requirements, the immediate return from employer matching usually makes it worthwhile. This foundation, emergency fund, eliminate debt, employer matching, creates the bedrock of your financial structure. Without these elements, everything else you do is essentially building on unstable ground. Step 4. Maximize your IRA. Once foundational pieces are secured, we enter what I call the tax optimization zone. This is where most people mess up because they get distracted and jump straight to regular investment accounts when they should maximize every tax-advantaged option first. Now we maximize your individual retirement account. Here's why this comes before adding more to your employer's 401k. Your IRA gives you far more control over investment choices and typically offers much lower fees than most employer plans. Corporate retirement plans are notorious for offering limited menus of expensive mutual funds with management fees that erode returns. With an IRA, you can invest in low-cost index funds and ETFs, charging just a few basis points instead of the 1 to 2% fees common in many employer plans. That might not sound significant, but over decades, those fee differences can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. It's the difference between keeping your money and slowly feeding it to fund managers. For 2025, you can contribute up to $7,000 to an IRA, or $8,000 if you're 50 or older. The key is breaking through those pesky MAGI income limits. Once you've maximized IRA contributions, then you can return to your employer's 401k and contribute beyond the match.
But here's where the decision gets complex. You need to choose between traditional and Roth versions of these accounts, and the choice can literally save or cost you thousands in taxes over your lifetime. The decision boils down to one question with a complicated answer. Do you want to pay taxes now or later? Traditional accounts let you deduct contributions from current taxable income, but you pay taxes when withdrawing in retirement. Roth accounts make you pay taxes up front, but then all retirement withdrawals are completely tax-free. General rule for most people, if you're currently in a high tax bracket and expect lower taxes in retirement, choose traditional accounts for the current deduction. If you're in a lower bracket now but expect higher rates later, choose Roth accounts to pay the lower rate today. The problem is predicting future tax rates is almost impossible. Young people starting careers should probably lean toward Roth accounts because
They're likely in their lowest earning years, and tax brackets will probably only increase. High earners hitting peak income years might benefit more from traditional accounts to reduce current tax burden. Honestly, if you're uncertain, splitting contributions between both types creates tax diversification and provides options in retirement. Step 5. Maximize your HSA if eligible. If you have access to a health savings account, this is where things get exciting because HSAs might be the most underutilized investment vehicle in America. They're like a Swiss Army knife of tax-advantaged accounts, offering not one, not two, but 3 different tax benefits. You get a tax deduction for contributions just like a traditional IRA. Your money grows tax-free while invested. And here's what makes HSAs special. Withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are completely tax-free even in retirement. It's the only account giving you tax benefits on contributions, during growth, and on withdrawals. For 2025, you can contribute up to $4,300 with individual coverage or $8,550 for family coverage. The requirement, you need a high deductible health plan to be eligible, which isn't right for everyone. If you're young, healthy, and don't have significant medical expenses, an HSA can be one of the most powerful retirement accounts available. Here's the strategy that makes HSAs incredibly powerful. Pay for current medical expenses out of pocket if possible, and let your HSA money stay invested in markets. Keep all medical receipts because there's no time limit on reimbursing yourself for qualified expenses. You could pay for a doctor visit today, keep the receipt, and reimburse yourself from your HSA 20 years from now, tax-free. After age 65, HSAs become even more flexible. You can withdraw money for any purpose, not just medical expenses, though you'll pay income tax on non-medical withdrawals, just like a traditional IRA. But medical expenses in retirement are essentially guaranteed, so having tax-free money specifically for healthcare costs is like having a secret weapon against one of retirement's biggest financial risks. The mathematics on HSAs can be stunning. If you maximize HSA contributions for 30 years and achieve a 7% annual return, you could have over $400,000 in completely tax-free money available for medical expenses. Given that the average couple retiring today will spend over $300,000 on healthcare throughout retirement, an HSA can essentially eliminate those costs from your retirement budget. Step 6. Maximize your 401k. Once you've maximized HSA contributions, return and maximize your 401k contributions beyond the employer match. The 2025 contribution limit is $23,500 for most people, or $31,000 if you're 50 or older. At this point, you're really optimizing from a tax perspective. Between your IRA, HSA, and 401k, you could potentially shelter over $35,000 annually from current taxation if you're under 50, or even more if you're eligible for catch-up contributions. That's serious money that gets to compound without the IRS taking their portion every year. Here's something that might surprise you. Most people never reach this point. The average American saves about 6% of their income, which usually isn't enough to maximize even their employer match and IRA contributions, let alone everything else. But if you're someone who can actually work through this entire sequence, congratulations, you're already in the top 5% of savers in America, setting yourself up for a retirement most people only dream about. The beautiful aspect of following this optimal sequence is that each step builds on previous ones, creating a financial foundation that strengthens over time. Your emergency fund prevents derailment when life happens. Eliminating high-interest debt stops you from bleeding money to interest payments. Maximizing employer matching gives you guaranteed returns. Tax-advantaged accounts let more of your money compound without government interference. Step 7. Taxable investment accounts. Once you've worked through all tax-advantaged options, we finally arrive at the step most people want to start with: taxable investment accounts. And there's a very specific strategy to approaching this final step that makes the difference between building serious wealth and just having a hobby that occasionally makes money. Taxable investment accounts are the unrestricted territory of investing, where you can buy individual stocks, trade options, speculate on cryptocurrency, or invest in index funds with no contribution limits or withdrawal restrictions. It's also where most people make their biggest mistakes because they think having access to every investment automatically makes them smarter. Here's what drives me crazy about taxable accounts. People get so excited about flexibility and unlimited contributions that they completely forget about tax drag. Every dividend payment gets taxed. Every time you sell an investment for a gain, the IRS wants their portion. It's like running a race while someone keeps throwing obstacles in your path. The tax efficiency difference between keeping money in retirement accounts versus taxable accounts can be absolutely staggering over time. Example: invest $10,000 annually for 30 years. In a tax-advantaged account earning 7%, you end up with $944,000. In a taxable account with the same return, but paying taxes on dividends and capital gains along the way, you might end up with closer to $700,000. That's nearly $250,000 difference just from tax drag. But here's where taxable accounts become valuable once you've maximized everything else. They offer complete flexibility. Need money for a house down payment in 5 years? No problem. Want to retire early before accessing retirement accounts? Taxable accounts provide the bridge funding you need. Planning to leave money to heirs? Taxable accounts get a step up in basis when you pass, which can eliminate capital gains taxes entirely. The complete sequence. So there you have it, the optimal sequence for investing your money that most people completely ignore in their rush to get wealthy quickly. Emergency fund, high-interest debt, employer match, IRA, HSA, maximize that 401k, then finally taxable accounts. Follow this sequence and you'll be building wealth while everyone else is still trying to pick the next big winner. Your future self will thank you for handling the foundational work first.